Hello, hello there. This is a recorded class with teacher Micaela. That's me. And this is for our class beginners too from Saturday morning. So let's get right into it. I hope you did your homework. Okay. So what was homework last week? Okay. So our previous week, we went over comparatives. We went over superlatives. So this is what we did last class. So the homework was for you to go over the grammar section for comparatives and superlatives, and also to go over countable and uncountable nouns and quantifiers. So you had this little exercise about how to use much, many, little, few, which we're going to go over that today with some exercises. You also had vocabulary as homework to go over containers vocabulary. Okay, I hope you did it. Okay, but if you have any questions from the homework, please let me know in our WhatsApp group chat. Okay, now let's go over the countable and uncountable nouns first. So you had this document to go over, and as you can see in here, we have the singular and plural nouns, right? So any noun that you can count, countable. For example, we can count pens, we can count phones, we can count letters, we can count songs. But then we have nouns or things that we cannot count. So if you go to this section on the uncountable list, then we see what kind of nouns we cannot count. So for example, money. You cannot say one money, two monies. What? No. We can count bills, we can count coins, right? But we cannot count money in general. Same thing as time, okay? We can count hours, minutes, seconds, years, days, and so on, but we cannot say time. Oh yeah, one time. Unless you're talking about habits, then you can say one time, three times, four times, twice, you know. And I'm going to get to this. This is important. This is the same with the word homework. Homework is countable or uncountable. In reality, homework, it's uncountable. We cannot say homeworks. No, my homework. Okay, I have much homework. We're going to go into that later. What we can count in here are exercises. We can count assignments. Yeah, I have many assignments to do. And as I just mentioned, we there use quantifiers most of the times. What are quantifiers? They tell us how much or how many of something. So you have to be careful whether the noun you're using is countable or uncountable most of the times. Let's go into here. Every time you want to say you have of something, if the thing is countable, for example, I'm going to show you all my markers. I have many markers, pens in here, so, and a little sign. I have many markers, so I can count them, okay? So many. But what happens if I have then that means I have few pens. I'm just gonna say few pens, yeah? Or I can say a few pens. Both of them are correct, okay? Now, what if you have something that you cannot count? For example, liquids, you can't really count unless you count a liter or a cup of coffee, a cup of water, bottles, cartons, and so on and so on. If you count the containers or you count the measurements, then yes, they're countable. But just liquid in general, we can't count. So in that, we have water, okay? I can say, this is my water bottle. I have much water, okay? much water. But now I drink my water. And now I have little water. I have little water in my glass. Okay. So in there, it's uncountable. So we use much for uncountable and little. Or we can use a little or a little bit of water. Okay. And this is where the question comes. How many blah, blah, blah do you have? Things that you can count. Remember, for example, how many books do you have? How many assignments? And in here we have many, many, many examples. How many questions do you have? How many apples? How many blah, blah, blah. And for uncountable, we use how much, okay? How much blah, blah, blah do you need? For example, time or water. How much water do you need? Or how much water do you want? How much water do you want? Okay, so be careful when you use much or many. Same thing when someone says, do you need any water? And you say, yes, much water. You cannot say many water. Okay, be careful with that. But here's the trick. We can, instead of using much, many, countable, and uncountable, we can just use, I don't know why this is here, a lot of. This is why a lot of is so common, because you can use a lot of for countable and uncountable things. So for example, if people say, do you need water? You can just say, yes, a lot of water. You don't have to worry much or many, yes. But if you're going to use much or many, you gotta be careful. In this document, we also have some, which you can use for countable and uncountable. No, which means nothing, nada, okay? Instead of a lot of, you can use lots of. We also have enough when it's enough. I have enough water for both of us. Or I have plenty. It's just more than enough. Okay, I have plenty of water for everyone. Now, there are some that you have to be careful. Remember, we have many and few for countable nouns. And we have much and little for uncountable nouns. Okay? Good. Now, we wanted to do some containers as well. But what about if you're talking about some liquids or products that you can't really count, that are uncountable, then you can go by containers. So you had to practice some container vocabulary in the homework. Let's go over some basic ones together. So in here we have some basic containers name. For example, a bottle, a box, a can, a carton or carton, a jar, a package, a bag. So let's go to each product and you tell me what kind of a container does it have. For example, number 1, what is it? A bottle of water. Okay, so this is number 1. What about number 2? It's a package of cookies. Or if you are in the UK, of biscuits. Number 3, a box of chocolate. Number 4, a carton of juice, or specifically orange juice. With my accent, I say a carton, but you can say carton and it's okay. Number 5, it's a can of Coke or a can of soda. Number 6, a jar of jam or a jar of jelly, specifically strawberry jam. And last one, number 7, it's a bag of potato chips or just chips, a bag of chips. But if you're in the UK, most likely you're gonna call it a bag of crisps. A bag of crisps. Yeah, we can stay with chips if you prefer. So, right now, I want you to go over this website, Walmart.com, which is the most popular and biggest supermarket in the US. So in here, I want you to look at different products. We're going to do grocery shopping. What? I'm going to show you. If you go over to departments, here you have grocery. So grocery is everything you need in your house. Okay, this goes to food, hygiene, cleaning supplies, etc., etc. So with grocery shopping, we can choose snacks, talking about chips. So let's go over chips. And we're going to see all these different famous chips. And in here, as you can see, some of them, or most of them, have the name of containers. For example, let's stay to the Doritos one. This one, the party size. You can compare prices with your country as well. So in here, what is this called? Doritos Nacho Cheese Tortilla Snack Chips. Party size, 14.5 ounces bag. So at the end, we have the container name. So in this case, it's a bag. Or for example, on the left side, this is a multi-pack or just a pack. What I want you to do right now, it's create a grocery shopping list like this one, okay? So you can create a document, a note, whatever. I want you to write down 10 different things you really need for your house, okay? So create your grocery shopping list, 10 items, and I want you to specify the product and the container. So this in here, you're gonna practice the containers vocabulary as well. For example, in my grocery shopping list, I'm gonna say I need a carton of lactose-free milk. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Walmart and I'm gonna type in there lactose-free milk. And I'm gonna choose a product. So I have this Horizon Organic Lactose-Free Milk 2% Reduced Fat 64 ounces carton. And I'm going to compare this to the one that I usually buy here at home. So for example, this milk carton, it's more colorful than the milk carton I buy here. Or I can use a superlative and say, this carton of milk is the most colorful. So now let's go back to our grocery shopping list. And I want you to type next to each product in your grocery shopping list, write either a comparative sentence or a superlative sentence. But you need to have both of them in here. For example, the example that I've already said, this carton of milk is more colorful than one I buy here. Okay, that's it. So complete this list and send it to our WhatsApp group chat because I want to see it, how you use comparatives, how you use superlatives, how do you use container vocabulary. Because this list, we're going to use it next class as well, asking how much, how many, and answering with much, many, a lot of, or little or few. Okay, so you must have your list ready for next class. Remember our previous homework? Okay, this one. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you've seen this. So in this exercise, we have 5 different exercises. I hope you've done all of them, but if you haven't, you can go back and finish them. Why? Because we're going to use these next class in our speaking practice. So you must be able to identify when to use much. Remember, much for uncountable, many for countable, little for uncountable, and few for countable. okay? So you have to know how to use them. But we also have some and any. When do we use them? Let's talk about it next class. If you have any questions, please don't forget to ask in our WhatsApp group chat. You can do it in our group chat, or you can just do it in privately, asking me directly if you want. Okay, and see you on Saturday.